Hi ladies, I hope you've had a cup of tea. Now I'm going to show you how to sew your casing. So we are once again using the number 10 foot with our needle position to the left, 3-length stitch and my coloured thread on top. I'm just not doing a contrast this time, I'm just going to do it in the red. And I've positioned my braid 1.5 centimetres from my finished folded edge. So I'm just going to whip down both sides and make sure you've got everything lying nice and flat. I cannot sew without my sew table, so I always have at least this size sew table on. So if you don't sew with a sew table, try putting it on, because you'll realise that it holds all your fabric up nice and flat and you get a better finish because everything's sitting nice and flat. So just whip down both sides, it's nice and easy. And the guide of the foot is where you've got your braid on, so you can't sew crooked. And so it's wonderful. People think you're amazing because you're this lovely straight sewer, but it's really a machine. But anyway, we can just pretend it's our fantastic eyesight. So just stitch down both sides. And fortunately my thread that I couldn't find, the other thread has compensated very well and looks very, very nice. So that's handy, isn't it? So stitch down here. And then I'll put my needle position to the right and sew down the other side. And that's how easy it is to do a casing. Now, if you decided you didn't want to have a casing made of braid, you could very easily make your fabric here 2 rows, leave an opening and make that your casing. But what you'll need to do is make sure you've got enough fabric to go underneath, so you've got 2 layers. But you could certainly make your casing as your fabric, and then across the top where your handles are going, you could have braid going that way as a feature. So there's lots of variations you could do on this bag, and I would love to see photos of your variations, because it's always fun when you teach something and then everybody has their own take on it. So just cut my threads. Remember to keep all your threads, because very, very soon we're going to be using them in the project. Oh, and hang on, hold everything and I'll just run and show you. I'll bring it over. See, here's my bag of threads. Got my bag of threads all ready for our little project. So keep all your threads in your little bag. So whenever you've finished cutting them, just pop them in your little bag. I have a clip top bag and I have another one of these at home. And we're going to use all that thread and we're going to make fabric out of it. So make sure you keep all your rubbish of threads. Rather than throwing it out, we can recycle it all. Wonderful. So don't feel like you're losing thread or money by throwing it out, because you're not going to anymore. Just reinforce that end. And I'm going to sew down the other side, and that's how quick and easy it is to make a casing. So you could use this idea for a casing on a skirt. Very, very, very quick, easy way. I must have another thread, there it is. A very, very easy way of making a casing on a skirt. Just do it on the outside with a funky braid. It's very simple. So remember, needle position far right, and you've all got needle positions on your machines, no matter what machine you own. It's just that some of these machines have 11 needle positions and some machines have 5. But you can still do exactly what I'm doing today, no matter how old your machine is, because I'm pretty much only doing straight sew all day today. For everything actually, but I do love my number 10 foot. This is one of my favourites. And then remember, I'm using the grosgrain ribbon as my cord today. And what colour toggles have I got on? And red toggles. So we sell these toggles and they're very reasonable. They're 45 cents. So I'll use 2 of those to put on the end of my... Oh! Actually, I'm using white braid. Oh, that's going to be interesting because it's not there. That's okay. What I'll do is I'll show you how to thread it through with my red braid, and then I'll have to find the white braid later on. That's pretty funny. Someone's probably purchased it all and I'll have to change my colour. Maybe I could have one red and one white. I don't think that's going to work. Okay, make sure you secure it at both ends. cut your threads, and then at this end cut your threads and put them in your little bag of threads. And any other threads you find that need trimming, you can do it now. That's the other side of my navy one. So I'll just show you how to thread my cord through, but in fact I'm not actually going to be using these colours, am I? So I'll cut this coloured one because I can use it for my other bag I'm making. So just make sure I've given you the amount on your notes. Make sure your cord is plenty long enough to go through and tie. And what I do is I get my loop turner, because I absolutely love my loop turner, and push your loop turner through your casing, and I just hold it up to my stomach and I just push till it comes out the other end. And there's a little hook on the end, so I just make sure that I hook it into my braid like that, and there's a little piece that flips up, you can put that on. And now what you do is you just pull that through the other side, and look how easy and quick that was. Okay, when you've done that, I'm going to have to pretend, because I'm not going to use these colours, but I'll just show you. Then you just get your braid and you fold it into 3, just so you can get it through here. Thread it through, and then I'm going to tie it into a knot, right? So I pull it through. Sometimes you need 2 knots, sometimes you need only 1. Tie it into a knot, like so. And then I trim it and fray check it, because this braid is not the same as the one I've used previous, and it does fray. It is like a grosgrain ribbon, but it's very, very lightweight, and unfortunately they're going to be stopping making grosgrain ribbons, so we won't have a lot of choice. We will have to use other braids. So then you just pop a bit of fray check on there, leave that to dry, and then you pull your toggle up. I can do it while it's drying, and that will dry in there. So I won't be doing both ends of this because I'm not going to use that colour, but I will show you the next step. So once you've got your braid through like that on both ends and your toggle on both ends, we then fold our towel in half, like so, and we get the halfway mark of our towel here, and we put a pin in it, and then you open it out and push clear on your machine. That'll take you back to center needle position. Slide your towel underneath. Make sure your handle's not caught, which it is. Slide your towel underneath, and then you're going to actually sew right through your casing to secure your cord so it won't go loose. So go right through and back again, and you have got a nice secure casing that's never going to pull out. So this one's quite a fun colourway with the navy and the white and the red. Not sure who I'm being patriotic to there, but I thought it was a really nice towel. There we go. And so I'll pop it up here and show you. So I will not finish that one with that coloured braid in, but I'll just show you again. So you've got your towel, and you pop it up that way, pop it down this way, and then fold it up this way. Now for this one, I've got my toggle on, my tag on here, and I have gone and got a cute little button which I've put in a really, really safe place. Here it is, this little tiny toggle, and I'm going to put it onto this side. So line this all up, turn this over, and where this is going to come over and join onto here, I'm going to stitch this little toggle. So I'll just put a mark where I'm going to stitch it and make sure that that is in the right place. It's halfway, there's my handles, perfect. And I'm going to stitch that onto there, all right? And then it will make a cute finish. So I'm going to put navy on my machine, and I can actually do this on my sewing machine, believe it or not. And you can too. It's amazing. So on some of the machines you will have a little picture that is number 16. Now I'm going to put that on there and then it can be zoomed in on. And number 16 is your button sew on stitch. Okay, so that's stitch number 16. And you can actually use an ordinary foot, which I'll do, but there is a proper button sewing on foot, number 18, that you can use. But I didn't know I was going to do that today, so anyway, that's what happens in all my classes. I always do random things. And so I'll show you how to do it. So number 16, if you don't have number 16, all you do is put your machine onto a 3 width zigzag or 3.5 width zigzag, and you very carefully and slowly put it on, stitch it, but you make sure your stitch length is on 0 so it won't sew anywhere else but where you want it to go. So this stitch actually automatically does it. So I lay my button or my toggle down, I position it underneath my foot, and if you could see it would be wonderful because you can't see a jolly thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my number 9 foot, so just hold everything, girls. So your number 9 foot is just your darning foot, and it will allow me to see what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm just going to pop on that. So if you've got a number 18 foot, the correct foot, use that. I'm improvising, as you can see. So I can now see where my holes are and where I need it to stitch. So what I do is I line up, you see I'm using my knee control. I line up my toggle, I put my needle down, and I take my pin out. Okay? And what this stitch does is it locks off in one place. I'm going to do it by hand, and then it comes over, and when it flicks over it does the zigzag. You always do that one by hand to make sure you are not going to break a needle, and then you just simply sew and it locks off and it zigzags and it locks off and it finishes. And if you want to make it really strong, do that same thing again. So it automatically sews on your buttons and you never need to sew them on by hand again. That's how brilliant it is. So good. And you can cut that thread or pull it through to the back if you don't believe me. And you can tie it off. But honestly, it's fantastic. It's very, very strong. So now when I fold my bag up, let's do it one last time. Fold my bag up. Fold my bag up here. And you know it's not going to be done so neatly when you've finished a day at the beach or at the pools, but this will just show you what I've done there. So you've got your bag, pulled it up. I can only pull up one side because I haven't got my other braid. One of my ladies actually told me that would fit in a bottle of wine. That was interesting. I said, wow, I didn't know anyone that take a bottle of wine to the beach. And there you have your little toggle. So that's quite a fun idea. So you can actually close up your bag. So there's just another idea, a variation of it. So you can have a lot of fun with this. So, and pretend I could pull this up, couldn't I? Show you. It's quite cute actually. You could do a lot of fun with different colours. So there you go. So there's your little toggle that you can put on the front of your bag. It's a very good idea if you want to make sure it can close up. Okay, now I've got to quickly show you a couple of things. First of all, you've got to see my dinosaur. How cool is my dinosaur? Now I made this for my other grandson, Brooklyn, and he's only a few months old, 9 coming up 10 months old, and I put a squeaker in it. And for those of you that don't know, we sell the squeakers. They look like this. Very annoying, and I hope that their little dog doesn't get hold of it because it probably will absolutely love that because there's a squeaker. And the other thing you probably don't know we sell are these. Sounds like a lamb. It's supposed to be for the middle of a beer. So you can imagine if the girls want to annoy me, that's what they go and do during the course of the day. So that's called a growler and that's called a squeaker. and we sell those as well. And there's my little dinosaur. He's very cute. And it was just by chance that the little eye went in the right place. I was not that clever. And I just used little ribbons for his spikes, so it's quite cute. Now, out of the scraps of your towel bag you're making, I want you to try this little block because it is so clever. And all you do is cut one fabric that's different than all your others. So I've got a 3.5 inch piece of fabric there, and I have got 4 3.5 inch squares here. Okay, we're going to put on our 1/4 inch 37 foot. And I'm just going to push stitch number 1 and clear it. And for your middle fabric, I want you to fold your fabric in half. Now this all came about by one of my ladies at Gordon Bay Studio. She brought her mother's little patchwork block and asked me how to do it, and we worked out how to do it. But we've found a lady online, and if you Google 10-minute blocks, she'll show you how to do lots and lots of these different blocks. So this particular one, you've got your fabric right side up. You put your fold of your fabric right sides together with your raw edges at the top. You put your fold of your fabric, your other piece of fabric, sandwich it together. So you've got 1, 2, 3 layers of fabric, and you just straight stitch 1/4 inch down the side. So quick and easy, you just have to see it because it's very, very clever. Whoever makes these ideas up is so clever, and obviously this has been around for a very long time because my lady, I think she said her mother's had it for like 60 years or something. Remember, keep your threads, they go in your little bag. Now what I've got here is I have got a piece of fabric inside 2 pieces of fabric, and I'm going to do the same to the other end. So 1, 2 pieces of fabric, and I'm just going to whip down the side there. So I don't know where it originated, but I think it's very, very clever. Now, what you do now, and some of the ladies thought this looked like a pair of trousers, but that's a very wide crutch, I will say. So what you do now is you just simply open up your center fabric here, and you put your seams together, and you just stitch all your pieces together. So you've got your, I'll open this out and show you, you've got your little piece of fabric here, and you've got your seam together, and you're sitting it on top of this fabric. Make sure you do not get a tuck, so if you open this up, if you open that up, you can push this seam out to make sure you don't get a tuck. It is so, so easy. And then you just sew across the top. So sandwich those together, and you can go from the center out if you like and do one side at a time. That's absolutely fine. And now I've got it all uneven because I've been mucking around with it. There we go. There and there. So I'll just sew one side at a time. You ladies can pin yours if you like. I probably could too. Pinning takes time. And I'll put one seam one way and one the other, so I'll just sew from the center out. And remember, with patchwork you don't need to backstitch. And then the same with this side. Just make sure that you push that out so that you don't get any tucks. Okay? And you can sew down to 6 mils without any tucks. And then you just lay this together and sew down this side. So seam to seam and whip down that side. It's very, very quick and easy. And so out of all my scraps I make in blocks. Now normally I would say to you that you can make these in any sizes, but one of my ladies had a great idea, and she said, why don't I get all the Bernina Club ladies to make 4-inch blocks and everybody make a square, and we could make a quilt, a Bernina Club quilt out of them, which would be fun. So here's my 4-inch block. This is the size it will end up. So this is done with all 4-inch squares and a 4-inch square in the center. So if everybody would like to make one of these and bring it in or send it to me. We're going to join them together and make a quilt, or possibly 2 quilts. I think it's a really neat idea, and then we'll just give it away or raffle it or do something. So that's the one I made with 4-inch squares, and this is the one I've just done now. Now it's very, very effective and it's very, very clever, but you can go one step more. If you wanted to make this into what's called cathedral window, all you need to do is roll these edges in. If I go like that, you can see it. Roll those edges in and stitch this in this curve, and it will look like cathedral window. It's a very quick, cheaty way of doing cathedral window. So there's lots of fun ideas, but if you go into the, I don't know the lady's name, that I actually saw it after we'd worked out how to make it, but 10-minute blocks online, you can go and have a look. Cool, huh? Look how pretty that looks. So you can have a lot of fun just doing very, very simple things, but I would love everybody to do one block and send it in or bring it in, and we'll join them all up and make a quilt. And that is how it could look if you wanted it to be cathedral window. So that's just another idea, but it's quick and easy and fun. Now I just want to show you a couple of things. We did an after Christmas top. Now this idea came about because a customer came into work with a top like this, and we said, oh, we absolutely love the top, because what it has is a little tuck down the bottom here, and it allows for a little bit of overeating at Christmas time. So it's quite a nice idea. And also I've got quite a few ladies that are going through cancer treatment, and the steroids puff their tummies up and their bodies up. And so this is a very nice flattering top when you're going through that time. And so we think it's a really neat idea, and it's just so simple. And all it is, here's your garment. All it is you find the center of your fabric and you mark that with a pin. So there's the center of your fabric, and this is the center of the front of my garment. You're then going to measure, I better have a look on my notes so I tell you the same measurement as myself. You're going to measure 2 inches either side of your seam. Where's my trusty sewing gauge? Oh, here it is. I love my sewing gauge. Can't sew it. I'll put it up on here actually, because this is quite handy. You can see it. So now I'm going to measure 2 inches either side of my sewing gauge. Now 2 inches is 5 centimeters, because this one's in centimeters. So 2 inches that side and 2 inches that side, and then I'm going to measure, I think out of memory, 1.5 either side of that. Yes, so I've got my center marking, my 2-inch marking, and now I'm doing 1.5 either side of that one. So I'm going to come to 1.5 inches and mark that one. And on the other side. Oops, I've lost a pin. Maybe I just didn't put it in properly. Should we try that again? There we go. So I will end up with 5 pins in my fabric. Okay. Now you want to make a tuck. So the tuck is going to go away from your body. So you're going to get your pin here and you're going to make your tuck. So all you do is pick up your, there's your center, pick up your first pin and bring it over to your second pin. That is all you do. And then you simply take the pin out and make it as one. And the same on the other side. Get your second pin and take it to your third pin to make your tuck, and have it facing away from your body. And then you sew down there, and there you have your tuck. You could have those closer together if you like. You can choose what you'd like. But I'll just quickly show you how to do that. And you've got the notes online, so you can have a bit of a play. And you can do this to any existing top pattern you've already got. Okay, so this can be done to any existing top pattern, because a lot of those floaty tops are very, very full. And so you've got enough movement in them that you can do this to the bottom, and it's very, very flattering. Very flattering. Okay, so all we've done, oops, better not tie myself up, is we've made, I'll just hold it up so you can see it, 2 little tucks so that when this hangs, we have more room in the bottom of our top. So it's very, very simple. I'll show it from this side. So here is our tuck here, and I forgot one step, as I do. That's not going to work, ladies, because I forgot one whole step. I definitely need food and coffee. Shall we try that again? So that is how it looks, but it's not correct. I need to do one more step. That is hilarious. It's good for me to make mistakes because it makes you all feel so much better. So, shall we try that again? So here's my tuck that I'm going to do, and I can still see my markings, which is a blessing. Right, so here's my right side. Very, very clever doing it like that, but it won't work. And I'm going to take my pin to make my tuck. Now what I do is I open it out and I sew up here 3 inches, or how many centimetres is that? About 7.5 centimetres. So I'm actually stitching down here. That is hilarious that I forgot that step. You need to make sure it is the right length on both sides. And it's the width of your tuck. Have I got my thread? Yes, I have. So I'll just forward and reverse that. Now when you're working on these fine fabrics, you may need to put a 70 needle in. I was thinking there was something wrong with that tuck. It is so funny. Because you may pull your fabric. So your tucks need to be stitched before you fold them over. Oh dear. I should have actually looked at the notes, shouldn't I, and remembered, because I did this a whole week ago. So there you have your proper tuck, and here's your non-proper tuck. So you can see why you need to make a proper tuck, because what is going to happen when it falls, you can see it's going to be correct, and then you have room to turn your hem up and your tuck has still held. So now you'll never make that mistake because I have made it. And that is how you make your tucks in the bottom of your garment. Alright, so you've got the notes and you can see how lovely that falls and gives you more room over your tummy area. So I think it's really nice. Now I'm just going to quickly show you how to do this beautiful neckline. I'm just going to do it on a straight piece of fabric. But a lot of people don't realise how to get a nice solid neckline like this. And the secret is, if you want to sew a 1 centimetre seam, you cut your fabric 7 times the width. Okay? So I'll just quickly show you how to do this. So I'm going to just do it on a straight piece of fabric to show you. So this is 7 times wider than I need it to be. And I'm going to fold it in half. And I'll just use my 1/4 inch seam today, and I'll just quickly show you. So you just sew it on the right side. This is one method, and we've given you notes on another method, but this is one method that I do. So you just lay it down, and actually I've allowed for a 10 centimetre seam, so I'll do that because I've got my 10 centimetre marking. So this one I'm going to do from the right side, folding it to the wrong side, or you can do it from the wrong side and top stitch it on the right side, whichever you'd like to do. But also it would be a very good one to do around the front of your blouse to put buttonholes. So with this method, as you can see, you've got your seam there. It's going to roll all the way over for me to do a really, really nice edging. Or if I wanted to, if I was going to do this for a blouse, I would leave it that wide and I would roll it over, top stitch it, and look at my beautiful finish. I don't have to put on any interfacing. But if I was going to do this method, I would want to understitch it. Now all understitching is a very quick edge stitch with your needle position to the right, and this is called understitching. So I might just quickly show you that. If you don't know what it means, again, the number 10 foot. And when you understitch these tricky fabrics, what it means is when you roll it over to top stitch it, so there's my understitching, when I roll it over to top stitch it, it will never ever roll back and be untidy. It's absolutely brilliant. So if I wanted to do that, all I do now is press it. Of course I would if I had time. I am desperately running out of time. And I'm just going to push clear, and I'm just going to top stitch this down as if it was a band, for a blouse. So I'm just going to top stitch this down and show you. Very, very, very clever. So edge stitching is brilliant on these fabrics, and you've got your notes to finish off your neckband anyway. And that is how you do it with sheer fabrics. Very, very clever. So whether you're doing a neckband or a blouse facing, this is a very, very good way to do it. So that edge stitching will never let that roll forward, and now I could do my buttonholes through there. It would be nice and strong. Okay, so there's a quick and easy way of doing your neckband. Cut it 7 times wider when you're double folding it, and this one I have single folded and I've still got enough depth to do buttonholes. So it's a nice finish. So there you go, ladies. That was just a very quick finish to it, and I apologise for that. And I look forward to seeing you next month. And remember to keep collecting your threads, because we're going to have a lot of fun with this in a couple of months. So you'll really, really enjoy it. So keep collecting your threads. And I will see you next month. Have a good Easter.